You presumed that when you saw me as a Black patient laying in that bed, that my life was less important.
You're listening to maternal expert and attorney Bianca Dickerson-Williams. She's a mother who suffered catastrophic life-altering injuries during the delivery of her second child. She's now speaking out, and she wants to help Black mothers all over the country.
And whether you thought about it or not, your level of care and treatment for me went down. Is that deliberate or is that not deliberate? I think that, we have to have these conversations, because as a byproduct of that is that we're walking in and we've made judgments now about this particular individual. And those judgments that we've made, whether we were intending to do them or not, have caused our death rates and our injury rates to skyrocket, and we're the only race that's up there. So what does that mean? How do we then explain the statistical data coming out of the Center for Disease Control and the Department of Health and Human Services? We're 6 times more likely to die or be injured in childbirth.
Black women are more likely to die or be injured in the delivery room than any other race. We are at war in the delivery room in hospitals all across America. We wanted to bring this to light, and Bianca Dickerson-Williams wants you to call her 310-579-9896. That's 310-579-9896. This is a crisis, and if you need to talk to somebody, talk to Bianca. 310-579-9896.
This is the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 195 of This is the G Podcast. Yes. You know it. Man, we've averted a shutdown in Washington. We now know who shot Tupac. Hopefully, in New York City, man, the water has receded after some state of emergency level flooding, man. Our friends and fam, our hearts go out to them. All is well in the world, right? Not really, but we're going to talk about it. Each week we do news, politics, pop culture, that piping hot tea from the one and only Tonya B. Only 5 episodes away from the 200th episode of This is the G Podcast. Stay with us, y'all. Thank you for joining us for another week. We greatly appreciate you. Let's get it started with news from Syracuse. Mike, what you got?
News team, assemble!
It's time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
It appears the Hollywood writers' strike is coming to an end, and the first major impact will be on late night and daytime talk shows. You could see those shows back on the air with new content very soon. But movies and scripted TV shows are still impacted by the unresolved actors' strike. Industry analysts expect you and I will probably feel the impact of the strikes through higher streaming costs. A new ABC News Washington Post poll indicates big problems for President Biden in a rematch with former President Trump. The poll has Trump leading by 9 points, 51 to 42%. Even some ABC analysts admit the poll is an outlier, with most other polls showing the race neck and neck. Age and the economy continue to be key factors hurting the president's poll numbers. A New York judge has ruled that Donald Trump committed fraud for years while building his real estate empire. The former president was seeking to get a civil lawsuit against him thrown out. The judge's ruling came in a suit brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James. The judge found Trump and others, including his sons Eric and Donald Jr., routinely and repeatedly deceived banks, insurance companies, and others by exaggerating his net worth on paperwork. So just how bad were the exaggerations? One example, Trump said his 3-story penthouse was nearly 3 times its actual size and valued the property at $327 million. No apartment in New York City has ever sold for anything close to that amount. Tuesday, President Biden became the first sitting president to join a picket line with union workers.
Stick with it. You deserve the significant raise you need and other benefits.
The president showed up at a General Motors redistribution center outside of Detroit. The visit followed a public invitation from UAW President Shawn Fain to Biden last Friday as the UAW expanded its strike to 38 sites across 20 states. The union is seeking 40% pay raises over 4 years for auto workers, a 4-day work week, and other changes. Army Private Travis King, an American soldier who fled across the border from South Korea to North Korea in July, is back in U.S. custody. After being expelled by North Korea, King crossed the Chinese border on Wednesday, and Chinese authorities handed him over to the U.S. Embassy, who then arranged for him to be flown to a U.S. military base in the region. He's now back in the U.S. The State Department says King's relatively quick release from North Korea doesn't really mean anything about the current relationship between the U.S. and that country.
I would not see this as the sign of some breakthrough. I think it's a one-off with them being willing to return this private.
A government shutdown is set for this weekend unless something happens fast in Washington. It could impact millions of Americans. House Minority Leader and Democrat Hakeem Jeffries criticized House Republicans for not holding a vote on a bipartisan Senate bill that would buy a little time and at least fund the government through the weekend.
Extreme MAGA Republicans face a clear choice. Put the bipartisan continuing resolution on the floor of the House for an up or down vote, and we can avoid the extreme MAGA Republican shutdown.
Far-right Republicans say they won't budge without a bill that includes border security measures. The man police believe was responsible for the 1996 death of Tupac Shakur has been arrested.
We are here today to announce the arrest of 60-year-old Dwayne Keith Davis, a.k.a. Keefy D., for the murder of Tupac Shakur.
That's Sheriff Kevin McMahill in Las Vegas. Davis is accused of orchestrating the drive-by shooting. He has admitted in the past to providing the gun. The case got a boost after he started telling people what he knew about the shooting. All of the other suspects tied to the killing are deceased. Diane Feinstein, the oldest-serving senator and the longest-serving woman in the U.S. Senate, has died. She was 90 years old. Feinstein became a national figure as mayor of San Francisco and then had a major impact in Washington, D.C. President Biden.
He was a historic figure, trailblazer for women, and a great friend.
Plagued by health issues, Feinstein announced earlier that she would step down at the end of her current term.
Thanks, Mike, for the headlines. Man, we got a lot going on this week. This is a crazy week, y'all. We're going to get into it, but not all of it. I'm going to let Mike cover most of it. But the Newsmaker crew is here for episode 195. Give it up for the one and only Talib, Shabazz. I've been saying Shabazz, man. How you let me get away with that?
Both. I use both. It depends on who I'm talking to. So, both are correct.
Both are correct. Okay. So, man, we got a whole lot going on. You got a crazy day. And full transparency, man, when we tape, y'all, we tape the Saturday like before. So as we're taping now, man, the government is making an attempt to delay the shutdown. I think they're trying to delay it for about 45 days. Yeah. McCarthy is daring people to remove him, for trying to keep the government open, which is crazy. And one of the big things that I'm hearing, Talib, is if they can't remove Ukraine, then it looks like this is going to happen. Mm-hmm. But also what I'm hearing is the Republicans really don't have the votes. They're going to have to get a lot of Democrats to come over. Plus, it's not going to really hit the broad economy. It's going to hit the government economy, the government workers. Right. But it's another bad optic for Biden. All these strikes going on, the up and down economy, gas prices, and now, the government is shut down. So, just real quick, man, your take on what's going on.
I just think it's terrible. It just doesn't make sense to me why you have a group of people who are elected by the people to represent the people who want to see something negative happen, like a government shutdown. I don't understand why we go through this every year. Like, you guys know this is coming. You know what I mean? And the fact that Matt Gaetz or Getz, whatever his name is, and his ilk in the Congress, just the fact that these guys are doing everything that they can to not have, in order to have a government shutdown is just preposterous. This is not doing the people's work. It's silly. It's silly. Yeah. It's unnecessary. And I'm tired of it, and I'm sure, that there's a lot of people out there who are tired of it as well. Unfortunately, I have some people that work for GSA and other government agencies. Yeah. And, this is like, come on, y'all, what are we doing here?
Yeah, can you imagine? Because this is going to impact as you fly, people who travel. Yeah, it's going to impact TSA because they're going to be asking the TSA workers, which think of a TSA worker going to work without getting paid. That ain't going to happen.
No.
The air traffic controllers, because some of the brothers and sisters who work TSA is like, I ain't getting paid.
Come on, hell no. Coming in. And that's what I'm saying. It's I don't understand why you're in favor of striking. Getz, whatever. I don't understand why Getz is willing to go on a strike himself, but still, try to villainize, the UAW and the other striking workers out there, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to have a strike. Like if we don't get what we want, we're going to make sure that the government shuts down. Well, why would you want the government to shut down? You guys still get paid. Congress still gets paid in a government shutdown, but the government employees don't. And this is just
let me interject, man. I'm going to say this. I know there was a bill, as we taped this episode this week that came up to where it would remove funding for Congress, so they wouldn't get paid. But that bill didn't pass.
Of course it didn't.
but
just like their raises always do.
That's the way it should be.
Right.
I think Congress shouldn't be paid during a shutdown. Their offices, all their employees, all the people who work for them, the pages, everything, everybody,
yes.
President, vice president, all those who work, in Congress, in government, should not be paid. All those who are overseeing the legislative process should not be paid.
No.
If you're not willing to negotiate and help, go ahead. I'll throw it back to you.
I'm just saying, man, listen, Congress is the only job where if you don't do anything, you still get paid. These guys haven't passed budgets. They're not, there's bills that are just going by, going to the wayside. It's all kinds of stuff happening in Congress. And basically Congress is getting nothing done, but they still get paid. That is just preposterous to me.
Yeah. And one thing, and, I'm going to move on because I think, we've spent enough time on it. I do believe, I think, and this is controversial, man. Not everybody agrees. I think we really have to think through the aid that we give Ukraine. And the reason I say that, I think UN and NATO have to be more responsible when it comes down to actually funding the war in Ukraine, not just the U.S., because my concern is we're funding a war that Ukraine can't win.
Right.
If they had a really good chance of winning this, it seems like we are, even though we don't have troops there, okay? It just seems like we're funding Afghanistan all over again. Not to that level of funding, but, we're just funding a situation where we can't win.
Yeah,
I don't see Ukraine ever beating Russia. That's not going to happen.
No, plus they're fighting politely. It's not like Ukrainian troops are rushing across the Russian border. You know what I mean? They're fighting a polite fight. It's not. Come on, and that's the reason why it looks bad on Biden, because Biden, your son was doing business in Ukraine. This is, Ukraine has been a sore spot on your radar for a while now. And here you are, putting more money into Ukraine. It looks like there's something really, something shady could be happening.
Yeah. And I just look at it from a war standpoint. I look at it from a standpoint of, there are many things in America currently that need funding, that require funding.
Yes.
I look at our transportation issue, and if you live in Atlanta, I know we got an infrastructure bill, but just this week in Atlanta, a huge hole opened on 285, on I-285, which is like the circle that goes around the city of Atlanta, and call it the perimeter. And metal, like these, what do you call them? The metal rods in the concrete were sticking up out of the ground. And this is happening, all over, especially South Atlanta, more so South Atlanta. And, for our transportation in America sucks. It really does.
Yes.
You know, traffic is ridiculous. We aren't even thinking about high speed rail. You know, that's the kind of shit you could take that kind of money and maybe in some of these cities, and you know, LA. Look at fucking LA. Who wants to drive in LA?
Right. No one.
No one. You know, but we can look at these areas where we have ridiculous traffic and these slowdowns, and maybe take some money and try to do something with high speed rail or do something to help the transportation in these metropolitan areas. But no, we want to spend this money, you know, fighting wars. And,
because when we fight wars, especially endless wars like Ukraine or Afghanistan, you know, defense contractors make money. And they're, you know, and their ilk. So, you know, it's, you know, we're backdoor paying somebody else for something else we're backdoor paying someone for something else that we don't necessarily need, something that we really shouldn't be involved to the level that we're involved in. But that's, you know, that's how it goes. Money can get spent and money gets lost, and you don't really, and there's really no accounting for it.
Yeah, so true. So true. Number 2, man. Tupac's alleged murderer has been arrested in Vegas. Dwayne Keith D has been known as one of the 4 suspects for years. All the others are dead. I mean, he's 60 years old. You know, he said some things in a 2019 memoir that kind of raised the suspicion. He's said stuff over the years, and now, you know, after 37 years, he could go down. And Tupac's sister, I think her name's Shakur, Shakur says she's been waiting for this day, but she's gonna hold her breath until it actually goes down. What's your take on it, man? That's like bullseye in your hip hop generation. Am I correct in saying that it's kind of bullseye for you?
Most definitely. You know, Pac was actually somebody that I met and, you know, got a chance to kind of hang out with because one of his cousins was going to Clark. So, you know, when D-Don was in school, Pac was around and hanging out at the house. So, you know, that was somebody that was personal to, you know, it wasn't just, you know, looking at an artist. It was somebody that I really know. You know, he got us into the Digital Underground show at the Omni. You know what I mean? Wow. So, you know, it was, you know, for him to go the way that he went was, you know, gut wrenching. So, you know, you know, it's crazy to me how you can go 37 years, have suspects, you know, and not take action, you know. You know, there was always the talk of a conspiracy, you know, when it came to, you know, his death and how the, you know, that police may have been involved and, you know, with his death, Biggie's death, you know, it's just that, you know, you got no answers. Come on, y'all. You know what I mean? There are, you know, it just, you know, I have a lot of thoughts. So, okay.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm going to start you on one.
Okay.
And I'm not saying this is only alleged. It always comes up. The Puffy thing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it always comes up.
Right. Yeah.
You know, especially, you know, I have brothers, you know, on my timeline, social media, when they going to start talking about Puffy? Now that they got him, when they going to start when are they going to find out that Puffy, you know, funded the whole situation, which it's alleged. It's crazy. Yeah. It's a conspiracy theory. Nobody really knows. But what are your thoughts?
You know, there is something going on and we are not being privy to the real facts in the matter. Puffy is, you know, Puffy's kind of a Teflon Don. You know, there was never any repercussion from the trampling, you know, at the step show, you know, 20, 30 years ago that he was involved in. He's been able to kind of slide past a lot of stuff. Did he really have something to do with it? I don't know. But, you know, there is enough suspicions where, you know, you could really say, yeah, you know, there's something worth looking into. But, you know, he's got the $1 billion shield right now.
And, you know, I always go back to the J-Lo. Remember the gun situation?
Yeah. And Sharon sat
like
in jail.
That money, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
and that's the thing. Again, when you have money, when you're on that level, there are things that you will be able to get away with just because you can buy your way out of situation.
It's all alleged. It's all alleged.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying anything, but I'm just saying what you see.
Yeah.
In social media from a lot of people in the industry and the businesses, when is his name going to come up? Candidly, it will never come up. I don't see it. It won't. It won't ever come up because this looks like a gangland retaliation.
Right.
It's never going to come up. He's East Coast and he lost Biggie.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, I'm glad that there will be some justice finally for Pac. And his death. I'm hoping that we can really get to the bottom of the Biggie murder as well, because those two things were, kind of stuck in the craw of a lot of people. And it will give some kind of healing to the hip hop community as well. You know what I mean? As a whole. So, I'm excited for it. If you can be excited about a murder suspect, you know what I mean?
Well, 37 years.
Yeah, come on, guys.
I mean, people, we're still getting excited about JFK. Right. Finding out, you know what I'm saying? America's still. Just recently,
yes, there was some updates.
So there's certain conspiracies that never end. They just keep going. They just keep going.
True.
All right, man. Hey, I know you don't have anything big this week. I do, man. Big shouts to you, man. I just got to say thank you, Talib, bro, inviting me to be a part of your big panel.
Oh, yeah,
thank you, bro. And I take pride, man, in my behind the scenes contributions to the industry during the time, and pre-hip hop, post-hip hop, whatever.
Yes.
I never post because we're not even there yet.
Still
within it. But during my tenure as music director in Atlanta and my PD years, man, and many don't know. It's interesting, man, that when I took over, man, the station was under a payola investigation. It was a big deal. I mean, I'm walking in. I was a mix jock, right? Mm-hmm. So, I was doing, producing the morning show, and I'm a mix jock. So I walk into the radio station, and if you live in Atlanta, a guy named Mark Winnie. He is the investigative reporter.
Yeah.
And still is.
Yeah.
It's like the 90s, like 90. So I walk in, and Mark Winnie is like, I open the elevator, and Mark Winnie's there with the WSB TV cameras. I walk over, I head in I'm just going there. I'm just there to drop my mixes off as a mix DJ, right? Look over in the lobby, and the TV is on, and the V call letters are like on the TV screen, and he's like doing a live report from the lobby. Damn. So, dog, it was big, man. I took over under payola investigation. If you know the name Joe Isgro, it was all connected to that. It was a big deal, and we couldn't piss. You couldn't take a piss without documenting.
Right.
During the 4-year period that I did that, man. So my shout out goes to all the people who had to work under that. That was tough. And Regia, who was there with me, and Tony Brown, some of the other folks. It was crazy, man. Yeah. And my props to those. And I think, again, we talk about, man, giving props to those behind the scenes.
Yes.
And, just saying thanks, all those who, because sometimes, like we talked about, a lot of folks come in and ride the tsunami.
Right.
They ride the wave.
Exactly.
When the force behind the tsunami never gets mentioned.
Right.
So my shout out, man. And it's interesting because I have conversations with people like, Brad Davidson.
Oh, yeah.
Who used to be the big Atlanta rep for Jive, Larry Kahn, who was his boss. Larry would always be saying,
I love those guys.
Larry would be saying funny shit because Larry used to do stand-up comedy during that period, man. But a lot, just saying, because he was, Larry, come on.
That makes sense. It makes sense.
And my shout out to the reps, man, who knew and just let us do our job, knowing that there was a whole lot of fucking pressure. It was like Goodfellas, man. You pick up the phone and you hear people breathing. And you just...
Wow.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, people don't understand, shit. Call me Scorsese. But shout out, Jarvis, Raheem, Kilo, man. That was a good period, man. We had a lot of fun. We still were able to, we were still able to do shit.
Right.
Even though, we could pick up the phone and hear. Call me Scorsese. I got you, Scorsese. Come on, I got a story for you. But the other thing, man, and before we wrap, the agreement, I guess it's an agreement. A Tennessee judge said that the conservatorship is over now. I thought the shit was over.
I thought they killed it.
This just came down. A Tennessee judge has said she's ending the conservatorship of ex-NFL player Michael Orr. The agreement reached in 2004 gave Sean and Leanne Tooley legal control over Orr's finances. Her ruling does not end the legal feud between Tooley's and Orr. The Tooleys have been asked to give some specific accounting details on how the money has been used. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's still going on.
Yeah. But congratulations to him for that. You know what I mean? Because the conservatorship, I mean, I understand why it's in place, but, people have the ability to abuse it. And that's what we're looking at. It seems, I'll wait for the facts to come out, but, I'm proud of anybody that can come from under that scenario and still be, a whole human being.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll see. Hey, we'd love your thoughts, man. Your feedback. Go to castropolis.net, choose the people poll. Leave us a voice message and I'll play it back. I'll play back the best. Call me Scorsese. Hit the people poll. Scorsese. Come on, Martin. You know where I am. We could do a whole damn podcast. But thank you again, Talib, man. Let me give you, because I know as we say, we tonight you do the panel, and after the panel, I'm gonna I'll run our conversation, man. I thought it was, I really appreciate it. I mean, there was so much shit that we didn't talk about.
That's true. But we hit some of the important points. And really, again, the thing is that, my goal and what I do is really about shining light on those who were important. And it's not always the name brand. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, just to give you your flowers while you're still here, you know what I mean? What you do is appreciated, and what you've done has been appreciated, and I thank you for it.
Man, I appreciate that. But call me Scorsese. I got some stories, bro. Hey, man, big thanks to the Newsmaker crew. Thank you, Talib.
All right.
Appreciate you, man.
Bye. We'll see you next week.
Hey, man, can I say this before we go to break? The Golden Bachelor, the true Golden Bachelor, is doing his Golden Bachelor thing. So I'm going to give it up.
Okay. All right.
To the true Golden Bachelor vibe is being golden. How can you be the Golden Bachelor with a honeydew list? How you going to be? You can't be the Golden Bachelor, but he's the Golden Bachelor. So shout out to him. Do your thing, bro.
Right.
We love you.
We love you.
You know we do. Love you, bro. Let's take a break and we'll come back with the tea with Tonya B. Appreciate you again, Talib.
Thank you, bro. See you next week.
More. This is the G Podcast after the break.
Hey, everybody. What's up? It's Tommy B from This Is the G Podcast. We are now halfway through 2023. And if you've been thinking about starting your own podcast in 2024, I'd love to have a chat with you. The Castropolis Podcast Network is currently accepting new shows. And if you have a clear vision and a unique voice, let's get in touch. Reach out to me at info@castropolis.net or visit the website castropolis.net. Simply click on the Contact Us button. So go to castropolis.net, click on Contact Us, and just leave me a message. I'm Tommy B from This Is the G Podcast, and I can't wait to help you start your very own podcast journey today.
Now then, children, it's time for tea.
It's tea time, y'all. Sippin' the tea with Tonya B.
Yes, children, it's time for tea. It's your girl, Tonya B. We're going to sip this GT right here on This Is the G Podcast. Got a lot to get to, so let's get this party started. We've got to send prayers up to Krazy Bone, a member of Bone Thugs and Harmony. He has been extremely ill in the hospital, suffering from sarcoidosis. It's the same disease that took Bernie Mac from us, and it has something to do with anti-inflammatory and autoimmune. So we just send their prayers and hope he makes a full recovery. Now, as I told you a while ago, Usher has become the official Super Bowl 2024 halftime performer. And if you don't make it to Vegas to see him, you're going to have to wait for a while because he is launching a global tour after he does a couple of dates for these jingle balls around the country, these radio shows. I'd also mention to you about an alleged former gang member named Keefe D and his alleged involvement in the murder of Tupac Shakur. And as the saying goes, loose lips sink ships, and Keefe has been flapping his gums and his one tooth since 2018. The 60-year-old has now been indicted for the murder of Tupac Shakur, and he also allegedly made a claim that he was offered $1 million by Sean Puff Daddy Diddy Combs to shoot Tupac and Suge Knight. I said allegedly. Time will tell. It's been over 25 years since Tupac left us, and this sounds like it's going to be a real long miniseries, y'all. Now, Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert swear that their breakup has nothing to do with cheating. But you know, side chicks of today are not quiet at all. Not only has this alleged side chick of Iman Shumpert gone public, but she's been posting receipts like pictures with Iman's daughters and his mama in them. Oh, well, I had always heard that they had an open marriage, so this may not, look, it doesn't bother them. It shouldn't bother us, okay? In other marriage and breakup news, of course, the Jeannie, Mai, and Jeezy saga continues, but their 15 minutes of fame is just about up. Oh my goodness, it's getting about as boring as All Outdoors now. Jeezy may be having second thoughts about the divorce. He takes off his wedding ring, he puts it back on, but they're living under the same roof. And Jeezy probably cannot put Jeannie and their daughter Monaco out of the marital home. Neo and Kevin Costner tried it and they were not successful, but Jeannie has some baggage. In addition to having her mama living with them, not a good idea, she also moved her brother into the house. That might just be a little too much to take. And Jeezy can't put them out either. They've been there more than 30 days, so they are basically his tenants. Kerry Washington has a book out, and man, she did an amazing one-on-one last weekend with Robin Roberts. She found out that she is the daughter of a sperm donor, and the man that she is known as her father is not her birth father. She drops a lot of bombshells in her books about overcoming an eating disorder, terminating a pregnancy. She's been real transparent, and that's a lot for her because she's really very, very private. Well, child, will somebody go around the way and get Britney Spears? Forget about her promoting her tell-all book. Now she's posting videos, dancing with knives and exhibiting some visible cuts, talking about those were props. I don't know what's going on with her. We got to lay her on the 5,000 Black Baptist Church altars in Atlanta as well. Well, Alicia Keys is now Alicia Teas. She's launching a line of teas. That should be interesting. Now, a story has landed in my mailbox about Chris Brown being sued again, not by a person, but this is a business lawsuit, allegedly. Word from the Curb is that he's getting sued for $2 million for an unpaid loan to buy 2 Popeyes chicken franchises. That could be a real mess. He is not like Megan Thee Stallion and her hottie sauce and her hottie chicken. Oh, well, it is what it is. Has the alleged eternal bachelor Jamie Foxx had a change of heart about getting married since his most recent health scare? Word from the Curb is his friends are saying, Jamie, don't do it. But apparently he's very much in love with his 20-something-year-old blonde girlfriend. I don't know. Also, how about this, y'all? J-Lo has another recording contract. She gets a record deal, but she don't sell any records. But she's got something else to worry about because I hear she is hot as fish grease. Tommy B about the photos of her husband, Ben Affleck, and his ex-wife, Jennifer Garner. Before you know it, she'll be going with him to the shower, to take out the trash, to take the kids to school and everything. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner have 3 kids, but she's been known to be the savior, always cleaning up his messy behavior. J-Lo, she ain't got time for that, but she's got to know what she signed up for, Tommy B. At least Ben Affleck won't ever call his ex-wife or his current wife the wrong name. Hey, Jennifers, how y'all doing? That's all I got. Got no more. It's been a slow week for news, but I still had to let you know what's going on. It's your girl, Tonya B. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Check us out live on YouTube. And effective immediately, you can check out The Bird Wire. Hands down, bar none, the undisputed home for the best new and classic independent music. On demand 24/7 at the website Castropolis.net. Be kind, be safe, be cool, and be careful. Have a great week, everybody.
What you watching this week, Tommy B?
Thanks for that, Tonya B. This week, my 3 suggestions are adaptations. 2 are based on books, 1 based on a webcast. The Other Black Girl is a dark comedy about a young black woman who starts working at a publishing house. She realizes quickly she's not the only black person in the building. The show is a sharp and insightful look at racism and the microaggressions that black people face on a daily basis. It's kind of a mix of a drama, comedy, horror, and social satire. And, think Invasions of the Body Snatchers, Spike Lee's Drop Squad in reverse, Bad Hair, and Get Out rolled into one movie. What's more interesting is realizing that the producers involved have been on the record for struggling with their racial identity. Working on this project had to give them some kind of emotional outlet, and it's a good addition to Hulu's Onyx Collective. It's based on the 2021 book by New York bestselling author Dakia Dalila Harris. My next pick is the comedy Dreaming Whilst Black. Dreaming Whilst Black is a British comedy series written and starring a Johnny Salmon. Originally a webcast, it became a television pilot that developed into a series, which was broadcast on BBC 3. It's currently been picked up in America and is airing on Paramount, Showtime, via the studio's deal with A24 Studios. Now, some of you may know that A24 Studios is known for indie horror films like X and Hereditary. It's well written, y'all. It has a great cast of newcomers, great acting, and most of all, the chemistry is great. I really love Dreaming Whilst Black. It's hilarious and heartwarming. It also has a great reminder that we're really kind of all in this together. I hope it's getting viewership, and I hope Paramount promotes it more. And also, I hope it finds its footing among American audiences. Finally, how can y'all not watch a Lakeith Stanfield series after the brilliance he gave us in Donald Glover's Atlanta? He's now starring in The Changeling on Apple TV. The Changeling is a visually stunning and thought-provoking show that will stay with you long after you finish watching it. Lakeith gives a tour de force performance as a man who is searching for his missing girlfriend. The show is dark, it's atmospheric, but it's also incredibly moving. Lakeith plays Apollo. He and his girlfriend Emma's love story seems like a fairy tale until Emma mysteriously vanishes. Now, there's a whole lot more to that, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. Distraught, Apollo finds himself on a death-defying odyssey through a New York City he didn't even know existed. The Changeling is based on Victor LaValle's best-selling novel of the same name, and each episode is actually narrated by the author. Though this story is beautifully produced and well acted, I will say director Melina Matsoukas, known for Queen and Slim and Beyonce's Formation video, could have made the adaptation for television a little bit more cohesive to retain that weekly audience. The key to The Changeling is whether you choose to stick through some of the confusion. Will you suspend your disbelief? One warning though, the premise around children will make you a bit uncomfortable. It is not for everyone. That's what I'm watching, y'all. If you're watching, I want to know what you think. Come on, jump in on the conversation. Go to Castropolis.net. Leave your feedback. The best ones will air. Thank you, and we'll see you next week, y'all. As always, big thanks to Syracuse Mike, Tonya B, Vi, Talib, author and political analyst Harold Michael Harvey. Yes, thanks to the crew, Millennial Nick, Lady J, Regia, music by K-Dub, all those who make it happen each and every week. Don't forget, y'all, every Sunday, 6 p.m., we stream first. Links in the social media bio, or just go to Castropolis.net. Share us with friends, y'all. Don't cost you nothing to share. PSA 1 for this episode. Our love and really our prayers go to our folks in New York, man, our friends, our family up there. After up to 8 inches of rain fell this week, flooding in the streets, subways, LaGuardia Airport. Here's to your recovery. Here's to a speedy recovery. PSA 2, and this comes from Millennial Nick. He passed this on to me. With the strikes in Hollywood seem to be ending on the pathway to being resolved. y'all better go out and find some cheap DVDs. My recommendation to you, because, get your favorite movies, your favorite shows, and just load up, find these $1 bins, $5 bins, because these new deals, they're going to pass it on to the consumer. I'm really confident that's going to happen. Higher streaming fees. I remember you thought you got rid of cable, but now these streaming fees are going up, y'all. Prepare yourself. Don't be held hostage by digital, hard copy DVDs, my people. Yes. Appreciate you all for supporting the show each week. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notifications, get the bonus episodes. And now we're doing the daily 5-minute episodes, the little shorties. During the week, make sure you subscribe. Just go to the podcast app, your favorite podcast app. Also, you can subscribe on YouTube. Next week, the big Troy University homecoming. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. But what you want to see? Let me know. It's going to be crazy. Y'all join us. And with that, episode 195 is in the can. Have a great week, everybody. Peace and power to the people.
You've been listening to the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B. The G Podcast is a production of the Castropolis Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.